Hello everybody and welcome to the first exercise of the class. This time we are going to talk about visualization or pre-visualization. As Ansel Adams said, the term pre-visualization refers to the entire emotional mental process of creating a photograph, and as such is one of the most important concepts in photography. And I agree 100% with Ansel Adams. If we do not pre-visualize an image, we are basically taking a snapshot. An amateur can go out, see something that at the moment is good, click and create good pictures, but it is just something that doesn't happen every moment and is not the right approach if you want to be deeply creative. If you pre-visualize the image instead, you create a photograph. And this is not just for landscape, as Ansel Adams did, or the kind of photography where you can be slow and meditative, but also for things like street photography. If you go out and just click without pre-visualizing what you are doing, you will just take a snapshot. If you pre-visualize, you can find the right place, the right scenario, and stay there and wait for things to happen. And this will create a photograph instead of a snapshot. And also, the pre-visualization is something that teaches us to look at the world, think about what we see and what we feel, and think how to convert it in a photograph. If we do not pre-visualize, usually we depend more on the camera than on ourselves and our feelings. The visualization habits have been changed a lot because with film it was the norm to pre-visualize, especially with view cameras, with large format cameras. I was used to do a lot of work with the 4x5 view camera. In that case we had for every film holder just two films, so we needed to have one picture. It was one good pictures, and it was very uncomfortable to, the camera are heavy, are big, large, and it was very uncomfortable to take off the camera and mount on the tripod and everything, so you cannot just go around with the camera and try to find a point of view. So we were used to have a device like this that I will explain later, and pre-visualize the image, look for the point of view, look for the light, look for everything, look for the feeling that we wanted to transfer on the film before we even took the camera out of the bag. That was essential, and it was the same also with medium format and small formats. It was obviously much easier to use the camera, but still the cost of the film was something that forced us to pre-visualize, to be sure to have very good images almost for every shot we took. With digital, everything changed because it's so cheap, it does not cost to take one or more pictures. So, and the cameras are almost all the cameras are very light and compact. I use the Fuji X Pro right now, and that's this really easy, compact, and great to use. But now we got the habit to take the camera and start to take photographs before we connect our vision and our brain. So we take ton of pictures. Sometimes I go out and I realize I take hundreds and hundreds of pictures, and I have probably two or three that are worth to be printed. The other are just trying to find the subject. So that's the bad habit that we got, and the easiness of digital is the main enemy of visualization. The easiness is something that don't force us to pre-visualize. So to change our habits is very, very easy, and you can do it with this exercise. It's very simple. Just forget your camera. All you need is a black cardboard with a hole inside that is the size of your sensor or is proportional to it if you want to do some math, and I explain why in a moment. Here I showed you some size of the standard sensors. If you have a different camera, just check on your manual. The thing is that with this cardboard, I said can be exactly the same size or proportional. In this case I use an APS-C, but I decided to make the whole double the size of APS-C. And this is very simple because when I visualize through this cardboard, and this will be the exercise, if I look at the subject and I measure the distance between the eye and the cardboard, if the size is the same of the sensor, the distance will be exactly the focal length of the lens you need. In my case, double the frame, double the distance. So if I measure 100 millimeters, I will need a 50 millimeters. So you need to do some math. The good part of making the hole a little bit bigger is that if you like wide angle lenses, as I do, so around with an APS-C can be around 12-14 millimeters, you must have a nose that is compatible to the distance. In my case, I don't have it, so a little bit larger hole and much more comfort to use this. Once you have this cardboard with the size you prefer, the things you have to do is to use it to frame the world around you. And this is useful for many reasons. The first one is that when you look through this hole, you look with one eye, so you will eliminate the stereoscopic ability of our eyes to see the world. We will eliminate the third dimension, and we will see the world as something flat, exactly as the camera sees it. And this is something that we have to train our brain to do when we look for a photograph. The other thing that is absolutely important, that when you frame the subject with this cardboard, you will isolate the subject from the surrounding. And it is something important to learn to do, because I give you an example. If you're sitting in the Florence in front of the Duomo or something like that in a bar, and you're looking and there's a dancer that is there and it will start to dance soon, you think, wow, that is beautiful. You take the camera, you take a picture of the dancer, and actually it's just a man standing there. With the isolation of the frame, if you train your brain to understand what the isolation is, you will understand that the picture is not worth because you have not put inside all the elements that give you the idea that the dance will start soon. For example, I don't know, the players of the drums around, the crowd starting to come in. So if you try to frame the world with this cardboard, you can train your brain to eliminate what is distracting in the scene and include what is essential to still communicate the feeling that you had for the place, for the subject. So this is an exercise that is very easy, because it's very easy to go around with a piece of cardboard. If you want, you can just use a positive film frame like this that is very comfortable in your pocket. And this will train our brain to switch to photographic mode. The other thing that I showed you before is that you can really understand the meaning of focal length, because if the distance between your eye and the cardboard is the focal length, you can easily zoom to a telephoto position or wide angle position and observe the differences. It's easy with this just to walk around and get closer or further from the subject and try different zoom and change position. Are all things that you can do easily, but with your camera, with your equipment. If you have your bag on the shoulder and your camera, you are some way limited. With this, you will learn to explore the subject much more. The goal of this exercise is exactly the idea of train our brain to, at a certain point, switch to a photographic mode. You just are enjoying your life in same places, you see something that attracts your attention, and you can switch in photographic mode and see the scene around, and you can see it framed, you can see it in two dimension, and you can see it with the right focal length. So this exercise is essential to learn to pre-visualize again, and is nothing different than what we did with the view camera. That I always had a tool that was just a cardboard with a 4x5 hole in it, and I used it to frame the scene. So now you have all the tools you need, because you have this, you have the knowledge of the goal of the exercise, you know how to use it. So just go around your home or your yard or whatever limits you have in this moment thanks to the coronavirus, and try to pre-visualize. Try to leave the camera in the bag until you have the image exactly in your mind. At that point, in some way memorize your position where you are, take your camera, possibly with a tripod, because it will enforce the exercise, and set up the camera and take the picture. And at the point, if you can share with the others in the group, you can share not just your picture, but also what were your feelings when you started to do the pre-visualization approach. That would be helpful, because if we can rationalize our thinking and our feeling, that will be much better stuck in our brain, and will be very helpful to train our brain to switch in photographic mode. That's the exercise. So thank you for watching, and I will see you for the next exercise. And please share your feelings, share your images, so we can comment and the class can go on also outside this short video. Thank you very much. See you next time.